getting there, man. The fucking coffee's kicking in.
All right,
I'm ready
there
to
you
start talking. Let's do this shit.
go. Okay. What's up, Rob? How you doing, man?
Oh, fucking good, man.
Good, bro. It's good to have you back over here.
What's good?
Oh, man, I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm good, dude. For real, that coffee is fire and it's kicking in so hard right now.
All right, man. Good. We're
Alright.
going to get some good gab out of this guy tonight, man.
Let's fucking party.
Hey, dude, nutrition has seemed to be just this amazing transformation for you. I mean, like life-changing, life-altering. There was times recently when you came over and I saw you, I was like, who is this dude? Couldn't even recognize you, man.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. My life has changed dramatically in so many ways. I've been kind of chipping away at this for a couple years, you know, to different degrees. You know, I started off a little bit slow, made some slow changes. Um, you know, didn't want to just try and change everything overnight and then just fall back into the same old patterns a few weeks to a month later because I've been down that road. I've done that before. So anyway, a couple years ago, I started chipping off at losing weight and getting back in shape. At one point, I was 220 pounds, and now I weigh about 140 pounds. So it's about 80 pounds that I've
Dude,
lost
that is massive.
in a few years, couple years. Yeah, I feel like a whole different dude, and I've been told I look like a whole different dude, and I feel like a fucking superhero, man. Yeah, I feel so good. It's amazing.
No, when you first came over after even just like 3 months ago, because I think it had been that long since we had gotten together, and that's when you like made what seemed to me like some of your biggest moves.
Yeah, it's funny you said that about 3 months ago. So I went from 220 pounds down to 160 pounds on my own. You know, it took me a couple years to do that, and then like the last year. Okay, so last winter, let's say a year ago, even like 8 months ago, I was 185 pounds. I got down to 185 from 220, and then I kind of hovered at 185 for a couple years, and then I started grinding super hard. You know, like maybe last April, and so since then, since like last April, I've lost 45 pounds.
Okay, and by the way, you guys, Rob is insanely committed to his nutrition regime. I mean, the dude comes over with his dinner. If he's missing dinner, to be over here and do this podcast and this talk, and he's got his whole little chicken breast all laid out and his salad all laid out, and I'm looking at him like, damn, dude, this guy is freaking committed, man.
That's what it takes, dude. Commitment and fucking discipline and an unwavering vision and mindset, because otherwise you got to have all these things as tools or you're not going to get to where you want to be, and that's just in life in general.
Oh, sure.
The same mindset's required for achieving anything in any field of life. So but yeah, so anyway, so you mentioned like 3 months ago you noticed I started hitting it hard, but I started not training, but I hired a guy. His name is Richard, and he goes by Coach Warpath on Instagram. It's Warpath Fit.
Gangster.
He's a G, man. He's my boy. He's stoked. He's taught me a lot about nutrition and stuff. But so he once was a pretty big dude himself, and so he's been where I've been, and he was where I wanted to be. He'd kind of been down the road and the path, and I saw what the transformation that he did with himself. So I hit him up because that's what he does. He helps people change their life and transform themselves into the person that they're really meant to be. Their ultimate selves and whatnot. So
I like that statement, ultimate selves,
yeah.
who they ought to be. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Those are good, strong words, man.
Who we're really supposed to be, and so for a couple years I've wanted to learn how to track my macros. Macros short for macronutrients. That mainly consist of your proteins, fat, and carbohydrates. You keep really, really close track of those.
Yeah, it's like it's a 40 30 30 formula, right?
No.
No, it
No,
depend.
it,
Okay,
it,
explain it so everybody understands it. So I don't sit here and talk a bunch of shit.
I can't really explain it. I'm not thoroughly educated in that, like Coach Warpath would be. You could find him on Instagram at Warpath Fit. He's a dope dude, and he knows what he's doing, man, because he's helped me out. Like, the proof is in the pudding. Yeah, it's not always going to be 40, 30, 30, 40% protein, 30% fat, 30% carbs. Or that number can change. I think it's dictated by the person and what their goal is and what it is that they want for themselves. So
Got
it's
it.
not always going to be 40, 30, 30 or whatever. That formula, once again, those numbers can be different. So he taught me how to do that. He taught me how to, gave me the tools so I could utilize, and he gave me the blueprint, the formula that I needed to lose the weight. So I was kind of stuck at 160, so which is where I got to by myself. And then so at that point I went to him for help and guidance, with my nutrition, and he taught me a lot of stuff. And once again, he taught me how to track my macros. So I've been sticking to that religiously. It's a pretty militant thing. You got to have some serious discipline, and you got to really stick to your vision, man. And if you're trying to cheat, manipulate it in ways that it's not supposed to be, and do things, you're not going to be successful with the program.
So what was your program? What worked for you that took you from 160 to where are you now?
Like 140 pounds,
Oh,
eight or something.
oh damn, dude, that's like lean as shit.
Yeah, we're getting there, man.
So okay, so how did you do it? What was the magic formula for you?
Well, he asked me what my goal was, what my vision was, what I wanted for myself. And
Okay.
I told him that I want to get rid of as much body fat as healthily possible. And so we came up with a plan to strip me of as much fat as possible. Uh, so I gave him my personal information. He came up with a formula, and it was up to me to trust in that formula and trust in Coach Warpath, man, and to stick to that formula of the macronutrients that he gave me that I get to eat on a daily basis. Okay. So for me, stripping fat, high protein, low fat, low carbs. But I'm still eating plenty of carbs. I eat 3 meals a day, a couple
Okay.
protein shakes or something. I work out all the time. So my goal is just to get as lean as possible and maintain muscle mass.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I want to get to. I've always maintained a structure, but I got that beer Gunther. Maybe, hey, Rob, do you think if I stop drinking a ton of beer, everything will be better?
It's amazing. Yeah, that could possibly help.
Yeah, well, that was an obvious one, right?
That could possibly help. Yeah, it really is all about the nutrition, not only what we are eating, but what we are not eating and ingesting.
Sure.
So that's where the discipline comes in. One of the areas, anyway. So, but on top of that, it's on top of the nutrition part, I've learned tracking my macros has forced me to become more structured in my day-to-day life. So, structure in my life is something that I've never ever had, and that just kind of comes with being a surfer,
Yeah.
artist.
Living by the seat of your pants.
Yeah, that's
Right.
just been me my whole life. So it's taught me a lot of structure. It's taught me some extra discipline. It's just brought other things into my life that I didn't expect outside of the nutrition thing. And dude, the amount of energy I have is mind blowing. My stamina's through the freaking roof, and I'm just no matter what it is I'm doing now, I just feel like I'm doing it better. And that's been like the feedback from other people too. That, hey, Rob, you're doing much better at this and much better at that, or whatever. So
Yeah, those are encouraging words, huh? Like reinforcing that, hey, maybe something's going right here.
yeah, well, what I'm putting in my body, man, it's just all different. My body's been used to one thing. I've just been shit food reliant my entire life. Fast food. I've never been a health food guy. no structure with the food.
Right.
Just as I'm hungry, pull in somewhere and get some food. And I've been doing that since I moved out of my parents' house, man, pretty much. And I think that's probably where it all begins.
I think there's a lot of people in this country that can attest to that habit and that culture that we've created here in the United States, where it's just we don't we just succumb to the convenience and the satisfy my mouth and my immediate craving, and not necessarily what my body really needs.
Yeah, it's we're creatures of habit in negative ways usually. Um, we are creatures of convenience. Is that fair to say?
Oh, absolutely.
We're looking for the quick fix. We're always, and in defense of everybody, we're all way too busy, which makes it a little bit more challenging to eat.
A little bit more premeditation required.
There's a
Strategic planning, if you will.
there's a lot of that's necessary, and that's what I've learned from it, and that's what I was talking about as far as structure goes. Strategic planning. You got to be fucking ready, man. If you're trying to track your macros, dude, you got to be on top of your game. And so there's a lot of, once again, premeditation and a lot of forethought that's involved, and that's been a great tool for me. And I'm just stoked that I'm on this path, dude. I'm going on like my 4th month of tracking the macros. So after we get to a certain point where we're satisfied with my fat loss, then we turn it around and do a reverse diet, and we bulk back up a little bit. So everybody's tripping on like, oh my God, you're fucking 130 something pounds. You're going to die of fucking this and that. They got, they're concerned or whatever. It's cool. I just think it's funny. Because everybody thinks that they know what's going on or they just see the number.
Yeah.
They don't really know the plan or what's really going on. So, we're telling them right now, and it's all good.
You brought up a really good thing there. It's like sometimes you don't always know what's going on, and sometimes a plan requires stages that don't make sense at the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, what we're doing has been around. It's not some new system. It's a sustainable thing. It's kind of what bodybuilders use to manipulate their body. It's scientifically proven. It'll work on anybody if you stick to the program. It's not some funky diet. It's not some miracle thing either. It requires a lot of hard work.
Well, you know what, and hard work, but also I think the big thing is changing the way you see your life and the way you see everything, and committing to that change that you see. And that's a habit that takes time to form, right?
Yes, yes. Old habits die hard. I'm talking from experience. I've dropped, even before I started tracking the macros with Coach Warpath, I dropped a lot of fucking bad habits, man. And most of them, one of my biggest downfalls and weaknesses, once again, has always been food. I could fucking do drugs and drink alcohol and do all kinds of shit and just take it or leave it and not do it ever again, whatever.